And with that countdown timer completed, we are live. And I have none other than Susanne Gurman from Beyond Identity. She's a VP of Revenue Marketing over there. Love having you here, Susanne. It has been a long time since we've had a chance to connect. I don't even know what to say. It's like I met you, like I think I said in the description, back in 2019, and that what was like 5 years ago now, right? I can't even believe it. Like that's how fast time flies, and yet here we are, and we're going to see each other in person again, right? In like what is it, 10 days, 12 days, or some number of days? Do you like off the top of your head? You just like no.
No, we will.
Okay. It's some number of days. Now,
it is.
Are you going to the Cybersecurity Marketing Society party on the 5th?
Oh, putting me on the spot right then and there. So I've spoken to Gianna, who I love very much and give her and the society so much credit. Yeah. I am definitely going to try and make it there. This year, Beyond Identity is everywhere all at once. So I just wanted to be very thoughtful in my time. Didn't want to commit without, managing expectations. But of course, I was there last year. I was there the year prior. If it is all possible that I am there, I will be there.
Okay. Because I'm 100% going to be there because, when I saw there was Wagyu beef, I was just like, there's no stopping me,
Yep. Yeah. You either leave RSA 2 pounds lighter or 10 pounds heavier, depending upon what your agenda is.
There you go. So I suspect that I'll be a little heavier, but by virtue of just this one party alone. But man, I am so excited. So, I didn't even know that the Cybersecurity Marketing Society was had this party right until a year ago, right? And so I've been trying to work all the angles and stuff, and I know that the society isn't necessarily is actually unequivocally doesn't allow sellers into the group. And so okay, all right, so this is like one of my very slim chances to actually kind of get in there and do my sales thing. And I just am really grateful to you that you've come out and like willing to kind of help me invest in making more of the society. I wonder if Gianna has crossed the 3,000 member mark, because when she was with me, I don't know, wherever it was, a week or so ago, she was close, right? And so if Gianna's in the house today, if she's joined us, that would be it'd be lovely if she could let us know what the current count is, because that 3,000 is a number. We should celebrate that.
Absolutely. And yes, I give her so much credit. She did exactly what was needed, a unification of cybersecurity marketers, because together we are much stronger. And I could dive right into RSA and how she's helping us as a community there. But I appreciate them having the isolation for us to have those real heart-to-heart talks as cybersecurity marketers. But anyone who is a sponsor of the society, of course, we're going to take better note of, because you're supporting something that we love. So I think it was a great step on your part to start aligning with and sponsoring the community.
Well, thank you for that, because it was my passion project, right? I have just been excited about it, and I told you in our warm up that I'm passionate about cybersecurity because it's so missional in the tech space. The tech can be so just money all the time, and it's and that's the motivation, right? That's it. And with cyber, you're like, hey, no, we're here we got another reason to be and to show up and to do good work. And so that in mind, I think that sets us up for a nice segue. Tell our audience about Beyond Identity. Tell us why you're there, what you love about the mission that you guys are going after. I want to hear about that.
Yeah, so there's a part of the mission that I think is near and dear to everyone's heart, whether you're in cybersecurity or not. But Beyond Identity's mission really is to provide businesses with the capability to securely and simply, which is really important, I'll get into that in a second, give their employees, contractors, vendors secure access to their systems and data. So with doing that, if it is secure, you're reducing the biggest threat vector that, when gone, reduces, your threat vector by 80%.
Wow.
And that's because we have a passwordless capability. I mean, who
Okay.
has passwords? Absolutely no one, right? I have a new app. I put it on my phone. It asks me to create an account, says a username and password, and I just want to throw my phone across.
Every time. Yeah.
It's a bad user experience. So we've got the user experience capabilities, which is really great. That's simple. It's really secure, ironclad, again, reducing a threat vector that today is responsible for 80% of the breaches that we have, because passwords and push code notifications, they're insecure. And yeah, we do it in a way that's very simple. So it's a really great mission, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love the company. It's a really great culture, and I welcome everybody to learn more about it.
Okay. So one observation of like why some of this password stuff is just a disaster, right? So I have an Android phone and it's a Samsung, right? And so Samsung's got its own password system thing, and it says, "Hey, do you want to save your password to Samsung Wallet or whatever it is?" I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, I want that. Okay, I want that. And then every time it says, okay, you got to log in, and then it prompts me with my Google account, of which I've got like 5. I'm like, oh, which one? And then I try to hammer out the password, which is, which is whatever 13 characters or some number, right? Stupid long, and it's all kinds of
Sometimes
gibberish.
has to be changed every 90 days.
Yeah. So it's gibberish. So then I try to enter it, and then Samsung inevitably, without question, says, sorry, wrong password, you suck, goodbye. So I'm
Such
like,
a bad user experience.
so call them, would you? Call, hey, geez, I mean, just like let's get that taken care of, because I want that to work. And so tell me, like, give me if you can, give me an example of, like, I don't know, maybe a mini case study of, like, here, this company had this situation, they had these complaints, they had this breach, and now they did beyond identity, and this was the outcome. Can you think of one just off the top of your head? Because I did not warn you, so if you can't, we're cool.
You did not warn me.
I didn't. I'm sorry. But I mean,
What I will say, is that typically, it's not before a breach happens that we start engaging with our customers.
Okay.
It's after a breach has happened that we really start engaging with our customers. So, some social engineering, some phishing attack got through, and they were breached. Then they come through and say, okay, these are insecure methods. We understand that your method for people to gain the access to our systems and data is more secure. Talk to us. Okay. So a lot of breaches are available where you can, review them in the news, investigate them. But I will leave it at that. So.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So we're not going to spill the beans on customers who are using it, because we don't want to give anybody any fuel to get an angle. All right. So fair enough. So let's talk about things that I did warn you about, right? I wanted to talk specifically about RSAC. I already asked about the Cybersecurity Marketing Society party. Maybe not. I'm going to be there. Maybe you will be. If you are, fantastic. Okay. But it is a day early. It's on the 5th. So, you've got Monday in there. I don't know. And John is like, hey, we want to make it as awesome as can be, because we know that you're already delivering awesome to your clients and to your RSAers. So we need to make it awesome, which means I literally can't wait. So, all right. The first thing that you came up with, that you presented when we were collaborating on these questions, was how could a vendor or sponsor plan to get most out of the event? And hey, you've been there, so lay it on us. Like, what is that strategy? Like, what do you do to position, or what are you going to do to position, beyond identity, or what have you seen that really made you stand out and made it work?
So I'm going to take this in two different directions if I could. So first and foremost, I really want to talk about optimization of this event from an internal perspective.
Okay.
Obviously, we want to invest in this and get closed won revenue, ideally new closed won revenue, but there are so many other ways in which you can benefit from participating in RSA than just that one goal. So, what I would love to share with, and you ratted me out 17 years of going to RSA,
Yeah.
is that explore every option to get value out of the event, which it could be an awareness play. You could, be a brand new company and not everybody knows you. So it may not necessarily be about the sale more so than it is educating people on who you are and what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it that way. So you could have, presentations about who you are and your offering, every 20 minutes in the booth. And by the end of it, you can say, we educated 800 people who didn't know who we were, and now they know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a goal. Another goal could be, strengthening your partnerships with your alliance partners or your channel partners. There
Okay.
are so many other things to focus on besides the closed won revenue, which everybody does have a focus on. And it should be. I'm not saying that, eliminate that in its entirety, but really understanding what the company needs at that time, establishing the goals and all the ways in which you can leverage the event. And then the real critical part is making sure that your executive team is on the same page of what those goals are and what the targets are to meet those goals. Because
Okay.
the last thing you want to do is put all this effort and energy into the event and then have your management come back and have different expectations of what the goals were. And then you're sort of deflated instead of really being happy about what it is that you just accomplished, because it is an accomplishment.
Yeah. All right. So you're a revenue marketer, though. So I'm really surprised to hear you say that maybe we can look beyond closed won, right? I mean, because closed won is ultimately revenue. So how do you reconcile that?
Well, yes, as a revenue marketer, of course, my main priority is closed won business, but
Yeah.
I can't work in a vacuum.
Right.
Awareness does have a play to that. Our alliance partners have a play to that. Our channel partners have a play. There's all of these things. I would never be successful by myself. So
Yeah.
while we want it all to point to closed won revenue, there is a time and a place for all of these other elements to help bring success.
Okay. I'm buying it. I'm buying it 100%. Because I've been, in a lot of, LinkedIn posts and chats and so on and so forth, the trade shows, because they have in the past, few years with the rise of demand gen and so on and attribution and really a focus on all those metrics and badge scans being, right. A lot of times sort of like, whoa, what do we do with that? The value of going anyway, right. Of being on the floor and what that brand element does for the business, today, in the next few weeks and months, but over the course of time, year after year after year, like you're there, your presence, right? And those buyers, those customers, right? They're going through their careers year after year after year. So they may come and they may be, a SOC analyst to start with, and then they're moving up. And now they're director, and now they're maybe become a CISO at some point, and they've seen you, right? And they kind of have aware. Maybe they needed, maybe they didn't. They changed jobs 3 or 4 times. That's and you're there, right? So I'm buying all of that stuff of how critical this brand component is. And so it's funny because I've got a list here of companies that I'm follow pretty closely who aren't going to be there and who have been in the past, and I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, if I could throw out some statistics here, there are over 600 exhibitors at RSA this year.
Yeah.
So it is very hard. And this actually circles back to my original answer. I said there was 2 parts. This is actually the second part. So I'm glad we're circling back.
Perfect.
It's really hard to make an impression because RSA by design is a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Again, 17 years going in, I still get overwhelmed the moment that the show floor opens because of the noise, the colors, it is very overwhelming. So you have to really understand, again, to your goals, what is the goal that you're trying to achieve, or goals that you're looking to achieve. And you do have to come up with creative ways to get the attention of the buyer. I'm gonna give some kudos to Palo Alto, who last year I competed with during an event time. So we had events at the same time. They had Jerry Seinfeld and Lenny Kravitz at their event, and I can't afford even one of them. Never mind both of them. So
okay.
So it takes a lot of thought and or budget. I mean, there's that too. To make sure that you get the most out of it. So I don't have the budget, although again, I give them many kudos. That's a fantastic event that they threw.
I'm sure it was. How did Lenny? How did he reconcile? Because I'm on record with my family. I've never said it on LinkedIn. And by the way, I do need to say hello to Nadine, because Nadine left us a couple comments.
Hi, Nadine.
She's one of my BFFs here on LinkedIn. All right, so Lenny. All right, I'm on record with my family as saying Lenny is easily the coolest guy on earth, right? In my opinion, right? The dude is just the coolest guy. How does he reconcile being like doing an event for Palo Alto, who, I mean, they're pretty hip in their industry, but come on, I mean, they're not as cool as he is. So I wonder about that. But anyway, I could give them.
You go where your audience goes, right? If he knew that some of his biggest fans were going to be in the audience, then why not?
Hey, why not? Hey, it's in San Francisco, right? So there's that. And I mean, I love Jerry Seinfeld. I've seen him live too, and he's great. So that must have been a heck of an event. How did you compete with that? Well, how did that even work out? Did you get anybody to show, or what happened?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to compare apples to apples, we didn't compare. What we did have, we had an audience.
Yeah.
And it was a great audience, but it made me really realize, like, you really need a hook to get people's attention. So this year, as an example, and I can't take credit for the idea, I have to give it to John Venable, one of our senior sales engineers, who is a Marine.
Okay.
You can't say former Marine. A Marine is always a Marine.
Okay.
And he suggested that we do something around the military this year. And so we are doing a military veterans cybersecurity reception where we have 3 very distinguished industry luminaries. Chase Cunningham, who's known as Dr. Zero Trust. We have Tim Callahan, who is the global SVP of and CISO of AFLEC. And then Miss Lygia Zeruto, who is unbelievably amazing as well. They're going to talk about how this talent pool of military veterans can help solve the very real problem that we have in cybersecurity, that is the 488,000 open jobs that we have. There's a skills gap, and this talent pool can actually really fill it. So, it's going to be a really good feel-good event where we're going to recognize everybody that, served or is serving while we're there. And there are people who I don't think would ever look in our direction because we're taking this angle, who are excited in participating in this. So Will we get everybody? No, but we will, we're certainly getting the right people. And yeah, looking to hopefully make this a legacy event that we can grow year over year, because it's got a great, it's got, yeah, great momentum so far.
I love it. I love that idea. It's really good. It's what stands out to me is that group inherently at its surface would have this kind of protector mindset, would have a missional mindset, right? That they're tuned into that, right? And so to be to be pursued, and in a context that continues to reward that kind of a mindset, brilliant, fantastic. I hope that you guys just absolutely have mobs of enthusiastic reception for that. That
Yeah,
sounds
thank you. You would think it'd be a bit more obvious that, there's this tremendous talent pool that, is used to crisis management, who
yeah.
has had access to very bleeding edge technology and is extremely disciplined. You would think that there'd be much more of a connection, but VetSec, who is actually partnering with us, it is a nonprofit that ensures that no military veteran goes unemployed. They have over 7,000 members. Sorry, John, I hope you're on and you can talk about the Marketing Society members, but they have over 7,000 members.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're just trying to make it more obvious that, this skills gap that the industry faces does have a real solution right here, right in front of us.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. Well done. Well done. And this is what I love about live streams. I didn't see that coming. Okay. I just didn't see it coming. And you're getting an authentic response from me. So I'm thrilled. I can't wait to see how that works out. And I hope that it does great. And if somebody can link to it or something in the comments, or I'll dig it up, find it, something, whatever, VetSec, and I'll do my best to support that initiative. It makes too much sense to not, just to jump on board with that. So
thank you.
That said, we are now on to question 2 of 10, and we're down to halfway through. So I want to understand from you, because you've been to RSA more than me, and I did miss a couple years in there. What are you doing individually? How are you going to stay sane? How do you, like you said, it's overwhelming when you get in there, the colors, the lights, it's just a craziness. What do you do to just not just curl up in a ball and suck your thumb?
Yeah, 17 years. I've actually developed somewhat of a checklist that for someone who first, is going there, what should I know, right? First and foremost, have a plan. If you're going to get in there and you're like, I don't know where to go, what to do, you are at a very bad disadvantage. So there are plenty of resources on the RSA website. There are things around that can help you develop your plan. That being said, don't necessarily stick to the plan. If you find that you have discovered something that is amazing or really piques your interest, give yourself that ability to really take it in and provide you that learning experience or that networking experience that you were hoping to gain. I would also say familiarize yourself with the landscape. If you're trying to get from point A to point B and schedules are tight, you need to figure out the timing. RSA has overgrown San Francisco. I will be the first and last person to say this. So there are some things that are a 20-minute walk away. You don't want to miss valuable time because you didn't coordinate in your head that you needed walking time, or even just trying to find, a session room or a meeting room or anything. So again, trying to familiarize yourself with the landscape as much as possible is really important.
Okay. So as a marketer, right? And, and there may be a marketer or two in the room with us who's maybe hiding behind the scenes. What do you advise for the vendors and the marketer, particularly the marketers, right? Because you're kind of a leader here, right? You've been in this, so you've worked booths, you probably have set up more than your fair share. What about that? What's your advice for the marketer who's really there for the exhibit floor and and to push the message forward.
Sure. It's, of course, you've learned your pitch. You want to share with the world what your mission is. Don't forget to ask the right questions. Why are you here? What is it that you're looking to gain? Really understand in real time who the person is that you are having a conversation with, so that message, you can tailor it so it really lands. On more of a personal note, change your shoes every 4 hours. If there's any advice that I can give anybody, even if that fourth hour comes up and you're like, these are my most comfortable shoes and my feet feel okay, they won't later. So if there's anything that I can advise, please, even if it's, from flats to heels, the weight change of your body, it will help tremendously, so that you're not at the end of the day limping, or at the end of the week having a hard time walking. I don't care if you're 20 or you're 50, that goes across the board. The other thing I would say, take copious notes. Something in real time could be so spectacular to you. You're like, I'll never forget that. There are so many spectacular moments that if you don't write this stuff down, you're going to kick yourself later and say, gosh, why didn't I capture that? Because while I remember the moment and being so great, I can't remember the details right now. So please, please, please make sure that you take notes. And then two more things.
Okay, go.
If I could. San Francisco, I love the city. I do need to say, though, that please be safe. The landscape there has very much changed over the years. If you can travel in packs, please do so. Always be aware of your surroundings. Just be safe. It's a city. Just be safe. And then finally, just have fun. Make the most of this. Have fun. Network. Get as much out of it as you can. Exchange LinkedIn connections, whatever it is that you need to do, but have fun.
Okay. I want to take that one bit of advice about changing the shoes, because my experience is that I'm walking the floor the whole time, right? And my normal, like my day-to-day flow is to sit at a desk all day. Right. So I'm not really like up to speed for that. So it takes a bit of toll. And so I'll take an extra pair of shoes. Why not? Because I finally learned this year that, hey, you know what? Backpacks are easier to carry around than a late 90s, drug rep bag. So I finally let that go. I'm sort of a kind of a sentimentalist, so I carried that thing for a long time, but I got rid of it, and now I've got a nice backpack, so I can carry my stuff, and in that I'll put an extra pair of shoes because of what you said. So there you
Please
go.
Do. And note, this year they have made the announcement that they are going to have more security, physical security. So if you're carrying a laptop or Altoid tins or anything that may fire off a metal detector, just keep that in mind, and it may slow down your ability to get into the exhibit hall. So
okay, well, good to know. I hadn't thought of that, because they never, it hasn't been an issue in the past, that they were doing a lot of heavy inspections and stuff.
Well, you're talking about some of those horror stories in previous years. There was at one point a bomb scare that had occurred at one of the events, and it was not good, obviously, and thankfully it was just a scare. But always know where the exits are. I always tell everybody in my team, always know where the exits are. I do, while it may feel a little over the top, I do feel better knowing that they're taking that extra security measure.
Yeah, no, that is that's really something. I appreciate that. I think I'll take that in. Now, one of the things that's also near that you didn't mention is food. So let's talk about food. So how have you gone about like making sure that you stay adequately hydrated, fed, so your energy's up, you don't fade, because there's not like a super awesome food thing going on.
They're very minimal options.
Yeah, how have you learned to navigate that?
So I've participated in RSA in various different capacities. I have been to that side where I did leave lighter than I came because I was doing a lot of things, none of which, had lavish dinners or lunches or actual breakfasts. And then I've done the other side where I've had, all those meetings and these, wonderful restaurants and stuff. But if you're more on the other side where you don't have those lunches, dinners, breakfasts scheduled, and you're doing booth duty and running around and of the sort, food and coffee is actually not that easy to find. Again, I will say that it is a testament to the fact that RSA has, exploded out of the Moscone Center and really does saturate almost the entire city. So there's a couple of different things that you can do to help yourself. Number one, I've worked with my exhibit house, Saks Exhibits. I'll give them a little promo. They're great. I love them.
Okay.
They make sure that our booth is well stocked with water, Gatorade, granola bars, you name it, so that you can have that quick need to, and mints. Those are also important. You're talking to people live.
Yes,
but all of that stuff is at the ready for me and my team.
Okay.
If you are outside and you are in need of coffee or food, the majority of the people go towards the hotels that the RSA room blocks are located. For that more quiet, quick, I suggest you go south. And again, safety in mind, but there are some restaurants and coffee shops and breweries. If you just go about 11 minutes in the opposite direction, you'll avoid the lines, you'll avoid, the crowds.
Okay. All right. Perfect. I love that. I tend to go south a little bit in terms of my flow from the Moscone instead of north, just because south tends to be a little cheaper and then a little more affordable. But I do recall one year there's a Chipotle there, and that because across the street there's that it's like a food court kind of place, just restaurants and whatnot.
So jam-packed all the time.
Yeah, there's a movie theater in there. And there's a Chipotle in there as well, right on the other side. And I remember I sat down with this dude who actually happened to be like the CMO for one of my target accounts. I can hardly believe it. And we had a great conversation. And so that's, you never know what can happen, right? If you just kind of get out and do some stuff and sit down with people and start talking, because chances are, right, they're there for the same reason you are. So, okay, cool. So hydration and you got that covered for yourself personally. So what are you like? I don't think I asked you this yet. And if I did, then let's just ask it again. So what are you like? What's your job this year? What are you doing at the show specifically? And what are you as an individual what are your goals for it?
Yeah, my job this year is a little bit more hands-on. So I'm going to be in the thick of it, making sure that, our 10 by 20 foot booth is up and running. I'm very excited that I'll have the opportunity to talk with folks in the exhibit hall during exhibit hours. With the help of more Beyonders, we will be throwing this event. We are also sponsoring one of our channel partners is Optiv. They have an amazing party. So we'll have that. We also have an executive suite for executive meetings. So making sure that is good to go. So just making sure that all of these different things that we have these goals, from a logistic and a strategic perspective are well equipped. In addition to that, one of the things that I really appreciate, since we are a channel first company and there's nothing greater for our end users, our customers and prospects, than to have integrations between technologies to make their lives easier, single pane of glass, more data points to make better decisions. So I love this opportunity to also meet with them, our alliance partners and our channel partners. And so I'll be making sure that I have time set aside for them.
Okay, right on. I'm really glad that you actually brought that up because it hasn't come up in the conversations that I've had so far on this countdown series.
Okay.
The notion of channel and how important that is, and because I'm kind of thinking about a couple of things. One is I have asked about, what are the challenges that you see the cybersecurity buyer facing, right? Or the cybersecurity pro, and I don't want to classify them as buyer, right? Because they're there. They're trying to solve problems. They're trying to guard against threats and breaches and deal with things that that's their main job. And they got this very complicated environment they got a ton to deal with. So I perceive that is a challenge. And now we have channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe kind of what you were alluding to is maybe channel simplifies things for them, right? Do you see that? Am I on the right track? I mean, or maybe I'm off. What's your take on the main challenges of the cybersecurity pro and the channel's role in addressing them?
No, I think you're spot on. If I, as a marketer, had to deal with 7 different vendors and I'm trying to figure out how they all play together and, what's the best implementation. If I could have someone come to me and say, hey, I represent all of these, I want to learn your business, and therefore I can make recommendations on not only, what fits your unique goals, but I can help you get it all set up too. I mean, to me, that just sounds like a breath of fresh air. Again, given the fact that, there is a skills gap, it can help augment those people who are currently suffering from it.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. The thing that stood out to me, I remember Dia Costa, is a friend of mine here in the LinkedIn streets.
Mm-hmm.
And he has sold a lot of technology solutions over the years. And he said, the thing that people aren't talking about as much is whether these tools work together, right? Like, and whether putting two tools together is going to cause some sort of an integration nightmare or open up a new attack vector, right? Like, do we just create some sort of a mutant beast that now we have to deal? So I would think at least channel would have thought of that, right? It's like, well, we've got 7 vendors here and we know they all work together because we've tested it. It's battle hardened and we can we can solve that. So all right, so Optiv, they're one of your main channel partners, so you're going to do them. So you've got some ways that you're going to give some TLC to these guys. Will they be on the floor and coming by, or is it all sort of set up in advance?
It's set up in advance.
Okay.
It's set up in advance. Yep. And I can't give Optiv love. I feel like all I'm doing is promos here, and I feel like I'm also like super flush. So sorry about that. But TacTech is another one that, again, we're sponsoring. So, we're trying to spread the love to all of those that give us love back.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is very much orchestrated because when you get into the thick of things and you have your plan, it's very hard when someone comes up to you and says, hey, I'm looking to have a conversation with you. You're like, I got 30 seconds, go.
Hey. Hey, well, you know what? I mean, so I'll just, that's so good. Well played. Oh, good. Again, I'm thrilled that we got a chance here to chat. And so when I do see you in person, you know that I'm coming from a place of trying to be supportive, trying to, help where I can. I actually have Monday, that is like, I'm not setting up a booth. So, if you do need somebody to carry something somewhere or otherwise, guard something, stand over something, whatever. I mean, run and get you some water. I don't, something, whatever. I'll be around. My colleagues, Sean Keegan, who is also just here in the chat with us, and Aziz Razakov will also be in town. So, we're together. We'll be 3 musketeers just kind of bumming around. And, and the point of this experience that we're engaged in right now is, like, I've gone to, and just from my vantage, I've gone to RSA and I've gone cold, didn't have a plan, didn't know anybody, didn't have a clue about how to go about the approach. And this is me trying to fix that, right? This is me saying, hey, how do we invest in advance? How do we really kind of get to understand what the issues are that you're facing and you're trying to solve, so that when RSA is over, and in a few months, and you've kind of recovered and you've dealt with, you've chased down all the revenue opportunities you can, and are basking in the glory of your awesome brand awareness and all that good stuff. And you think, oh, what are we going to do next? Well, it's still a little while till Black Hat, and we don't have any other big events we're going to go to. So maybe, that's the time that we've like, okay, let's have a little chat. So in any case, we're here the whole time. So we've just got a couple more minutes. Let's talk about revenue marketing for a minute.
Yes, let's.
I think we have just a brief window here. Because a lot of people that I talk to a lot of marketers all the time, and I've got a few in my audience. Where do you see kind of the field of, particularly in B2B tech, marketing heading, and what's the role of the revenue marketer, and how are you, I don't know, what's kind of like your biggest thought around this?
Sure. So actually, when I decided to join Beyond Identity, they had submitted the contract for me to sign as the VP of Demand Gen. Okay. And so I called my soon-to-be boss and I said, I don't want that title. And it may sound insignificant, but to me, it's very significant. I think outside of the marketing world, Demand Gen has a bit of a stigma that we do all this top of funnel activity and then we throw it over the wall to sales and say, good luck. And that's not what a revenue marketer does.
Okay.
A revenue marketer wants to look at the entire customer journey or the entire prospect journey and partner with sales to make sure that, they're not handed this lead cold and that they're by themselves taking it across the finish line. We want to make sure that we provide support along the way and that we team together to do that. So, I appreciate understanding and trying to have accountability for not just top of funnel, but even when it turns into an opportunity, how can I accelerate the sales cycle? How can I increase the sales price? These are North Star metrics, 2 of the 5 North Star metrics that we have to really understand our impact to the business. But it's important. So to me, that's a little bit of a difference. Now you can be a VP of Demand Gen and do the exact same thing. Titles, I read something, and I believe it was the Wall Street Journal last night about how titles these days can be so crazy. Like Lululemon retailer folks that cash you out are now called educators because they're not cashiers, they're educators because they educate you on what it is that you're buying. So, it can take the form of a different title. I'm not trying to knock anybody who does have that title. But when I was coming into Beyond Identity, it was really important for me to set the tone with the existing sales team and let them know that I changed this purposely because I want you to understand that I am your partner.
Okay, cool. So they're buying it too. It sounds like. I mean, they're on board. The alignment is happening.
I love our sales team. I just got a call from one right before this. I love having that constant interaction with them. So yeah, it definitely works.
Awesome. All right. So I love that you own this revenue marketing title as it's kind of your own, and it's a definition that you have, moved forward with, and because I'm one for making up my title too, right? I get that, and I don't want to say making up is. I don't want to put that on you. I'll put it on myself.
No, right? It was created in 2010. I did not create it. I wish I could remember it so I could give them adequate credit. But there was a firm who actually created the title and the definition, the true definition behind it, which is similar to what I was just explaining. So wanted to make that clear.
Okay, fair enough. So it's got a definite, it's been around. You're doing it. Awesome. All right. So here we are. We're at time. I want to say thank you for coming out today. Thank you for sharing all your stories. Thank you for just being present and transparent, because I really believe that we can't get enough of that right now in particularly in B2B, where we hide behind AI and closed anonymous sort of documentation and communication. So here we are, right? 100% accessible, just on the spot. So again, thank you. I cannot wait to see you in person in just like literally like what, 10 days or something. I mean, 11 days, whatever. So with that,
sure. Trevor, it's a pleasure. Thank you so very much for having me on. And I promise this RSA, I'll give you more than 30 seconds.
Awesome. All right, perfect. Well, I've already got my fill, so I'm going to take it, and then we'll just put a cherry on top, and I will see you in a few days. All right, so we're going to do our count up timer from here. So goodbye, everybody. Thank you for coming out today, and yeah, we'll see you in a few days. All right, thanks, everybody. Bye.